Okay. Have you had time to let it ruminate a little bit overnight? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, and it stings. It's sometimes difficult to process, but it's a part of it. You got to go through these moments, and it's a tough way to end the season for sure.
Do you think, like, looking back on it, you are a hamstring pull away from achieving something that's pretty darn good?
Yeah, I mean, we were right there. So we definitely take that into consideration, and that's in the back of our minds. But even with that, we had have a lot of trust and faith in our group, and we went after it, but we just came up short and not enough to get the job done.
Obviously, the timing of the injury was unfortunate, but Zion played more regular season games than he has in his career. Just what do you think about his year this year?
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction for Z and the staff around him. It was great to have him on the floor for as many games as that he was on the floor, and we got a chance to see him throughout the course of the season just continue to get better and take steps forward to seeing who he really is, and it was fun to be a part of for sure.
You guys saw a pretty good sample size of CJ, Zion, and BI together this year. Just the raw numbers were not great when they shared the floor. Do you feel like those guys fit together? Can they fit together? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they can, and those are questions and decisions that I go back as a coach and try to reevaluate. What can I do better? How can I put those guys in a better possible position? What groups can we have on the floor that work well together, that complement them? But as a whole, this group, even with the disappointing loss, the disappointing playoff performance, big picture is we had a successful season. We fell short of our expectations, but that group had a successful season. So, we'll still take some time and reevaluate and see where we are, but I definitely think that they can do it together.
And after getting to see OKC and playing a bunch of those great teams in that homestand late in the year, what's your feel on just what this team needs to do to kind of improve and take that next step to join that upper echelon in the West?
Yeah, I think we're trending in that direction, but at this moment, it's hard to dive into that. Right now, we're all still feeling the ramifications of losing in the playoffs, and I'm sure Griff answers some of those questions, but that'll be something we talk about in the off season together and figure out, what did we do well this season? Let's continue to do it, and what's some areas that we can improve in.
A 49-win season, still a 7-win improvement from last year.
Yeah.
How do you couple that with the exit that you guys had when you kind of look back and reflect on this season of, whether it's successful or not?
Well, you can still, in my opinion, you can still have a successful season and fall short of your expectations, and that's where we are. Is that we had a tremendous season. I think in the last 15 years is the most wins the franchise has had. So something we can definitely build on. Yeah, but we still feel short of expectations that we have for ourselves, and that's where you go back and you reevaluate. What are we doing well? We want to continue to trend in that direction, and what's some areas that we can improve in, and that's what we'll do this season.
When Brandon made in his first All-Star game, he was taking about 7 threes a game. The last 3 years or so, it's been just under 4. I know the whole staff and his teammates have been rooting for him to take more. Just what do you make of that, and what needs to happen to get those attempts back up? Because you guys have talked about trying to get around 40 or even 35 a game.
Yeah, it's just trusting in your work. Brandon, he's more than capable of doing it, and as a team, we've gotten better in that area. We want to continue to improve, but taking quality threes, and he's a big part of that. But it's really just having trust and confidence in the work that you put in, and then having that carry over on the floor.
He talked a lot last night about just dating back to Team USA, how this was a tough year for him, how he was kind of disappointed in his play. What did you kind of see from him this year, and what he was dealing with, how he kind of, I guess, what he was trying to do to get over that so he can perform at the level y'all are used to seeing from him?
Yeah, when I think about B.I.'s season, there's a level of his season that I'm proud of. He also played in more games than he's played in previously. And he was just fighting. He stayed with it, wasn't the year I'm sure he wanted to have wasn't his best, but he stuck with it. Cares about this group, cares about being on the floor and going after it with his teammates. And but there's moment throughout your career, all of us, where we have to feel this. You got to go through some difficult, adverse situations, and those situations are meant to make us better.
Griffin had hinted at the fact that OKC got a chance to develop while there was no expectation of winning, and yet your team has to develop while the expectation is there. How do you think this unit has handled it, especially this year, growing while being pressured to make sure you win and get to the playoffs?
We're all extremely proud of this group and what we've done, honestly, over the last 3 seasons. There's continuous growth. Those are, the foundation is there, and we want to continue to build on that. We have a ton of room for improvement. I'm sure once we get away from here and we decompress, we'll figure out, how we want to progress in that area. But overall, we're extremely proud of the character that we have. We're extremely proud of the work that we all put in on the floor, our whole staff. And so I know we're trending in the right direction. It's hard to look at it as a whole right now because we're still feeling the effects of losing in the playoffs and not reaching our goals. But we're going to get there, and that's the key is continue to instill that positivity that we've done and confidence in this group.
Could you explain what happened at home this year? As good as you were on the road, the home court wasn't the home court. Does that puzzle you? Do you have an explanation for it? How much have you thought about it?
I don't think much about it. I mean, we'll try to be better at home, but sometimes it happens where you're not as good as at home, but you're better on the road. Sometimes teams are really good at home and they're not good on the road. I just try to keep the main thing, and that's win as many games as you can, put yourself in position to give yourself an opportunity to go to the postseason. We did that, and we'll continue to look at it.
You have a lot of good choices. Whose growth impressed you the most?
It's a number of guys on our team that has impressed me. You can start with Z and the steps that he's taken to play in 70 games and be elite and show himself in the world what he's capable of doing. Herb has made tremendous jumps with his shooting this season. Trey, JV, the way he's handled all the different adversity that's been thrown at him in the lineup, not starting in the third quarter, all of those. So I can go down the list. CJ, his shot profile, I can go down the list, but we're proud of this group. I'm proud of this group. We're proud of this group. And, all these guys are continuously making strides to get better.
You guys made significant changes to your medical staff last offseason. As you just said, Zion played 60 games. Brandon played the most games since his days with the Lakers. Why did it work?
I think it started at the top. It started with Griff. It started with Trajan, having conversations with our performance and medical and figuring out ways that, we can be better. And that's the goal is in order to give ourselves a chance, our guys have to be healthy on the floor. And they did a tremendous job this season of the communication, number one, with each other, with our staff, making sure they address situations right away, making sure all the guys are comfortable with what we're doing in the medical and performance side, and we saw the results were that we were a healthier team overall.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeanette.
You guys had late game execution struggles throughout the season. There's been a lot of outside talk about maybe adding a point guard to the team. Griff kind of downplayed the notion about needing a pure point guard. Said it's more about intelligent basketball plays and just kind of creating the right shots. Just where do you fall in that philosophy?
I fall in that philosophy with first myself. Going back and reevaluating as a coach, how could I have put our team in a better possible position to be successful down the stretch of games? And that's where I start with everything. And from there, we'll look at what's needed. But at this moment, it's just something on the list that is on the improvement side of things for us.
Griff talked about in recent years it's been about continuity and seeing everything together, and that this offseason may not be about complacency. You played in this league a long time. You just alluded to all these guys that you've developed and been with kind of as a core for a few years now. If radical roster change happens, is it just, not radical, but roster change happens with guys that you've developed to become close to, is that just kind of part of the game?
Well, Yes, it is a part of the game, and change is inevitable. But at this moment, for me, I know for Griff, for our organization, there's not going to be any emotional changes that we're going to make. We're going to take a step back, look at our group, and really be diligent about what those changes are. And we got a great foundation. I think Griff alluded to it. We got a great foundation here. We want to continue to build on that, and we'll see where we land.
You've been with Zion for 3 years. What have you learned about what motivates him, what makes him tick?
He's a competitor. That's what we all love about him. He's a competitor. He loves to be challenged. He wants to step on the floor and be the best that he can be, and he definitely showed major steps in the right direction of doing that this season.
You think he's go ahead.
You talked about how the team is trending in the right direction. How do you kind of balance that with the entire Western Conference is also kind of trending in the right direction, it seems like?
Yeah, the whole Western Conference is trending in the right direction. Yeah, I mean it's a tough conference to be in, but that's the way the cards are dealt. And so we were right there in the mix of everything. We had a chance to be 6th, 5th in the West. We didn't get there, but we had opportunities to do it, and that's where it's in our control. And so we're right there. We're going to continue to take steps to get there, and we know the West is going to be tough again next season. So, we all look forward to that challenge. We all look forward to looking at this roster, looking at the coaching staff, whatever we can do to, keep building on the positivities and then add to the improvement areas.
Coach, do you think that looking at Zion's play the second half of the year, do you think some of the criticism he got early in the year maybe lit a little match under his seat and he was kind of perturbed by that in a good way?
Yeah, I think he took it as motivation for sure. I think we all heard some of it, right? You try not to, but if I'm being honest, you hear some of the noise out there. You try to block it out. But a credit to Z, a credit to our staff here, Coach Aaron Miles, Bove, Tom, Trajan, Griff, like everybody involved. Z did a great job of stacking his days, putting his time in, putting his work in, and it showed when he got out on the floor.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it.